Everyone has empathy until they don't. For our Pastoral Connect this week, we're looking at the parable of the Good Samaritan, and just want to make a few quick observations from that well-known story of Jesus. First of all, the Samaritan is the one in that story who actually showed compassion or empathy to the traveler who had been attacked and left for dead on the side of the road. The Levite and the priest did not intervene, but the Good Samaritan did. And there's a lot packed into that parable that really challenges us. First of all, the Good Samaritan, represented an ethnic group that was really in a position of pretty much outright hatred toward the Jews and vice versa. There was extreme prejudice, but the Samaritan rose above that. And what we learned from that is that collective identity cannot be allowed to eclipse empathy. But we all have empathy until we don't. And a lot of things allow us to excuse the line where we stop having empathy. Part of the reason we do that is because we all create systems by how we look at the world. And that's not bad. We have a very systemizing mind. But where people fall on the wrong side of our system, it can be very difficult for us to really feel empathy. And in fact, I think there's a good amount of evidence, and I agree with this without subscribing to any specific theory 100%. The less that you really kind of just empathize and get with what life is all about, the more you need your system to feel like you can safely interact with this world and make sense of it. It's called an empathizing systemizing scale. And both abilities are very important. But the bottom line is that without empathy, we will never systemize correctly. We will never make good judgments. We will never discern appropriately if we don't have a bedrock kind of empathy. This is why Jesus says things, I believe, that sound so radical, like love your enemy. Do good to those who persecute you. If you stop feeling basic empathy and or compassion, your ability to discern well will be severely compromised. In other words, our sense of oughtness transcends our systemizing, our analyzing, and even in some ways our rationality, not because it's irrational, but it includes and transcends the limits of our rationality. That doesn't make it irrational. It just means there's an element that goes beyond it and really connects directly with the heart of God in whose image we are made. As I say often, Paul's prayer for the Ephesians is a prayer we all should be emulating, that we would know a love, directly experience and connect with the love, empathize with the love that surpasses knowledge. A sense of oughtness requires empathy. We ought to feel a certain way. This is so embedded in who we are as image bearers of God that Jesus even says that when it comes to judging humanity, the Father entrusts all judgment to the Son because he is the Son of Man. It's not that the Father or the Son's judgment would ever disagree systematically. They're not going to have a debate about who ends up in heaven and who ends up in hell. It's that empathy is so important to judging well that the Father defers judgment of humanity to the Son because he is the Son of Man. He's human. He empathizes with us. We ought to feel a certain way. Empathy should be unconditional. Compassion should be unconditional. But everyone has empathy until they don't. And the don't is often when we put people outside of our tribe. What you identify with will tell you what you feel entitled to and will allow you to excuse when you stop feeling empathy. Don't let that happen. That's a degradation of your own soul. We are saved because God has unconditional empathy for the human race, so much so that in the person of his Son, he became human. And that is an encouraging thought, to think that we are saved by an unconditional, eternal empathy. Have a blessed day.